So let's have a look at the vertical mattress suture. This is one of the specialty stitch techniques, and as I said earlier, one wants to be as simple as possible. So why would we use this special suture? Well, first of all, let's have a look at the simple interrupted. On the left-hand side, this is a simple interrupted, and it's a good one. Why is it a good one? It's a good one because the tissues are well opposed and the edges are everted. The skin edges poke up. On the right-hand side, this simple interrupted is a poor one. Why is it poor? Although the tissues are well approximated, the edges are inverted. Is that a problem for us? Well, you bet it's a problem because we're in the business of trying to make good scar. Inverted edges will give you a bad scar. So I still haven't answered the question why. Well, this is the vertical mattress. Have a look at it. And the reason why we use vertical mattress is we want to get eversion of the edges. Those edges need to pop up. And sometimes the skin is just so thin it won't do that. So the best way to think of it as two simple interrupted stacked one upon the other vertically. The first pass is just like a standard simple interrupted, perhaps just a little bit wider from the wound edges. The second pass, we turn the needle around in the needle driver and we sew backhanded. So we come back picking up just the edge of the skin. How much? Well, one of my teachers once said 6 cells thick. That's maybe an overstatement, but just the epidermis and the dermis on both sides. And then when you tie it, what happens is those edges evert up. I would use this on the back of the hand, for example, if the edges want to go in, anytime where you just need to get eversion. So, the key points for mattress sutures are, think of it as two simple interrupteds stacked one upon the other. On the second pass, just pick up the skin edge and no more. If you have too much, you'll expose dermis. The commonest mistake is not having enough distance between the passes on each side. And what do I mean by that? I mean these two areas need to be separated a little bit or you won't be able to see the stitch to take it out. It's a great stitch and there's lots of indications for use. So let's practice this now on the foam pad. Make an incision in the foam pad. And then just remember what we're doing is replacing two simple interrupteds. Great simple interrupted, my wrist rotated well back. I'm going to come through and make the pass all the way through on both sides with one pass. Pull the stitch end through. Turn the needle around in the needle driver because we're going to be coming back in a backhanded fashion here. Pick up just the edge. In this case, it'll be the beige representing the epidermis and maybe a little bit of the red of the dermis. Pop it through. And you can see we've separated each of the sides as I've mentioned so we can see some of the stitch still to take it out. And when we tie it up, this everts the edges beautifully. Lovely eversion. You can see enough of the stitches to be able to take that out as well. We'll talk about how to remove these when we talk about suture removal. Let's have a look at it again. The first is a simple interrupted. Roll the needle all the way through, work with the curve of the needle. Turn the needle around so we can sew backhanded. Pick up just the edge. Now, what's the difference between these two? You can see I haven't separated the two stitches on one side. This is going to be a tough stitch to take out. We don't want to do that. You want to do it as we did in the first pass, where you see enough stitch that you can get it out. That's an easy one. The bottom one's going to be very difficult. Okay, let's have a look and see what this looks like on real skin. I'm going to make one pass on one side, one on the other, rather than going all the way through. Tissues are separated a little bit. Notice the distance that I'm coming out. A little further than you would normally go with a simple interrupted, but it is a simple interrupted. Backhand the needle, come back just the skin edge, and that's all. 6 cells, well, maybe that's an overstatement, but it's thin. And then when you tie it together, watch as the skin edge is just evert beautifully. Just enough tension just to get them up. Don't overdo it. And there you can see the edges come up nicely. This is a terrific stitch when it's needed. The vertical mattress.